Alice accepted the Queen's invitation and began playing croquet. However, the scene was chaotic, with the ill-tempered Queen frequently shouting, "Off with their heads!" Alice felt extremely uneasy, fearing she might inadvertently argue with the Queen, so she began searching for an escape route. At that moment, something strange appeared in the sky. Initially, she was filled with astonishment, wondering what it could be. After watching for a minute or two, she realized it was a Cheshire cat, and she thought to herself, "It's the Cheshire cat. Now I have someone to talk to. Hello, how are you?" The Cheshire cat asked as soon as its mouth appeared. Alice waited until its eyes appeared too before nodding. She figured it would be pointless to talk to him now and should wait for both ears to appear, or at least one of them talking. After another minute or two, the whole head appeared, and Alice put down her croquet mallet to explain the croquet game to him. He seemed delighted that someone was listening to him. The cat appeared to think that just showing parts of himself was enough, and he didn't reveal his body. Alice complained, "They're playing unfairly, and they argue so loudly that you can't hear yourself speak. Moreover, it seems there are no definite rules, and even if there were, nobody is following them. Also, you can't imagine that everything is alive. It's quite annoying. For example, I was about to hit my ball into the goal, and the goal just wandered off. And when I was about to hit the Queen's hedgehog with my ball, it ran away as soon as it saw my ball coming." The cat whispered. "Do you like the Queen?" "Not at all," Alice said. As she was about to continue, she suddenly noticed the Queen behind her, listening. She immediately corrected herself, "I'm very good at croquet. And there's no need for anyone else to compete with her." The Queen walked away, smiling. "Who are you talking to?" The King approached and asked. Alice still stared strangely at the Cheshire cat's head. She said, "Allow me to introduce, this is my friend, the Cheshire cat. I don't like his appearance at all, but if he wishes, he can kiss my hand." The King said, "I don't want to." The cat replied, "Don't be rude." The King said, "Stop looking at me like that," and as he spoke, he hid behind Alice. Alice said, "Cats can look at kings. I read that in a book somewhere, but I can't remember which one. Anyway, we must get this cat to go away." The King said firmly, then shouted, "My dear, I'd like you to come and get rid of this cat." The Queen's solution to all problems was the same: off with their heads. She said this without even looking. "I'll go find the executioner myself," the King said, hurrying away. Alice heard the Queen screaming in the distance and remembered she should check on how the game was going. She had already heard the Queen condemn 3 more people to death, simply because it was their turn to play, and they didn't play immediately. Alice didn't like the situation at all. The whole game was chaotic, and she had no idea when it would be her turn, or when it wouldn't be, so she went to look for her hedgehog. Her hedgehog was in the middle of fighting another hedgehog. Alice thought it was a perfect opportunity to use her hedgehog ball to hit the other one, but her red mallet had run away. She saw it flying off into the garden. When she caught her mallet and returned, the 2 fighting hedgehogs had disappeared. Alice thought it didn't matter much since all the goals had also run away. To prevent her hedgehog from running away again, Alice tucked it under her arm and went back to talk with her friends. When Alice returned to the Cheshire Cat, she was astonished to find a large group of people surrounding him. The king and queen were engaged in a heated debate, both talking at the same time, while everyone else watched in silence, looking very uneasy. As soon as Alice arrived, the three of them immediately asked her to be the judge, each presenting their arguments one after the other, trying to be the first. It was hard for Alice to hear what they were saying. The executioner argued that he couldn't execute someone with just a head, he needed a body to do that. He claimed he had never done such a thing and never intended to do it again in his life. The king argued that as long as there's a head, it could be chopped off. The executioner just needed to do it and stop talking. The queen's argument was that if anyone didn't obey her orders immediately, she would have everyone's heads chopped off, including the bystanders. It was this last statement that terrified everyone. Alice couldn't think of any solution and simply said, "This cat belongs to the Duchess, you'd better go ask her." The queen instructed the executioner, "Bring him here. He's in prison." The executioner rushed away like an arrow. Just as he left, the Cheshire Cat's head began to disappear completely. The king and the executioner frantically searched everywhere. But the others went back to playing croquet.